Hello everyone, welcome to the PlayStation 2 Retrospective, and today we're going to take a look at Kingdom Hearts 2, often crowned as one of the best games on the system. Just as a heads up, I'm going to be looking at this game both as a fan of iconic PlayStation 2 games and of Kingdom Hearts. Also, instead of playing the original release, I'm going to be playing the Final Mix Edition, complete with new cutscenes, boss fights, textures, weapons, an additional difficulty mode, and more. So let's stop procrastinating and jump into the world of Kingdom Hearts 2. So story-wise, this game takes place after Chain of Memories in 358 Days over 2. It starts off with this kid Roxas, who's enjoying his summer with his friends, but then eventually a whole bunch of supernatural shit starts to occur. People he's never met know his name and try attacking him. He keeps getting flashbacks to moments he wasn't there for. This girl Namine keeps freezing time to talk to him, and even a weird key dildo keeps emerging from his hand. Shit's fucking weird, and basically, after 7 days, Roxas realizes that he is a part of this fucko Sora who he keeps dreaming of. And for Sora to return from his year-long coma, Roxas has to die. He has to willingly give up his life to merge with Sora so he can continue living. And he does.
Looks like my summer vacation is over.
He merges with Sora and loses his life in the process. And after that, Sora, Donald, and Goofy wake up and embark on a new adventure to stop Organization 13. And that's just the first 3 hours. I shit you not. It sounds like it could have been a game in and of itself, but that's just the stage that's set for the rest of the journey. My favorite thing about this game's opening is probably the feeling of something always being off. Even before the twist is revealed, something just always doesn't feel right. Everybody is too happy and too oblivious to all the weird shit that's going on. The fact that you're forced to live a normal life even though you, the player, and Roxas know that shit feels weird is great. And the moment Sora wakes up, because he doesn't retain Roxas's memories, has no recollection of what he went through and what he had to sacrifice. So the moment the trio wakes up, the game is all happy-go-lucky. The music is adventurous, everybody is jumping around, even though we just saw a kid give his life so Sora could just exist. And for the entire game, Roxas has this overlooming presence that comes to a head later in the game that I will touch farther in the video. As a whole, this entry story pretty much bookends the Destiny Islands arc in the Xehanort saga. The game ends with Riku and Sora finally returning to Destiny Islands to reunite with Kairi. After 60-ish hours, 3 whole games, the original trio is back together. And seeing them all happy, only to be reminded that both Roxas and Namine had to give their lives so everything could go back to the status quo, hurts. It honestly fucking does. And if this was the last Kingdom Hearts game, I probably would have been fine with that. This ending is satisfying and wraps up everything from the previous games. Of course, there was foreshadowing to Birth by Sleep, and it's implied that Xehanort became whole again, but there's just a sense of finality. Riku doesn't have to struggle with the darkness anymore. Sora doesn't have to be the best boy and search the entire fucking galaxy for his friends. And Kairi doesn't have to wait anymore. Okay, really quickly, I don't hate Kairi. I'm not going to get into details right now. I'll delve into this more when I cover KH1, Dream Drop Distance, and KH3 specifically, far down the line. But the point is, I don't hate Kairi. I get why people do, but I don't. I also don't get the hate for the Pirates of the Caribbean world. Call me a pirate shill, because I probably am. But I feel like Port Royal... Fuck, it's so hard to say Port Royal. Fuck, I can't say it. But I feel like Port Royal was one of the easier worlds to stomach. Its unique art style, its accurate music exclusive to the Final Mix version, and its unique way to defeat enemies derived straight from the movie makes this world a top pick for me. But that Jack impersonator has got to fucking leave. My favorite world is probably Beast Castle because I'm a Beauty and the Beast shill and I need no other fucking reason than that. My least favorite world is probably Space Paranoids. Yes, Atlantica is objectively the shittiest one, but I personally dislike Space Paranoids the most because it fucking annoyed me. The worlds this time around are so vast and so beautiful, but Space Paranoids just feel small and tacked on. I get that it's a world inside of a world, seeing that it's just in Hollow Bastion, but it just feels like there's no defining feature for this world besides neon. Not to mention the lights give me a headache, the music got on my nerves, and none of the boss fights from the world are really memorable. I honestly had a hell of a lot more fun in the Tron Legacy world from Dream Drop Distance. And I don't like that movie! Let's see, what else can I complain about this amazing game just to be a negative fucking Nancy? I get that this game has super deep combat, but I don't want to talk about that. There's lots of other videos from lots of other more credible sources that cover that exact premise. No, what I want to cover is drive forms. I don't hate them, they're just an annoyance. And I get that some liked what it added to the series, and to be fair, this mechanic on top of reaction commands really made this game unique. And I do feel like the latter definitely should have stayed in later installments. But between the drive forms level being tied to certain abilities base Sora obtains, such as high jumps, which are quintessential to obtaining puzzle pieces, to anti-form activating at the worst times, it was better to just avoid using them altogether. Honestly, fucking limit commands were less of a gamble, and those take all of your MP. I get that anti-form specifically is supposed to be a punishment for relying on one mechanic, but there's a difference between forcing the player to learn the mechanics to actually succeed, and just using a bullshit timer determining whether I get to use the thing I want to use, or I get to fucking die. Speaking of which, I honestly had no clue how to segue to the next segment of the video. I completed this game in only 22 hours, and that's including a few hours of needless grinding because Roxas kept fucking my shit up. This is, without a doubt, the shortest time I've taken to complete a Kingdom Hearts game, and it's the second easiest Kingdom Hearts game on standard, with Kingdom Hearts 3 definitely taking the cake. I probably died about 14 times in those 22 hours, and I can assure you, 8 of those were Roxas. Now, to be fair, I completed all of these games beforehand, so I've been around the cage block a little. I've gotten used to the formula. And this game being short isn't inherently a bad thing, it's just surprising. This is supposed to be the pinnacle of Kingdom Hearts, and yeah, it's fucking great. Now, is it my favorite Kingdom Hearts game? We'll touch on that later. My favorite boss battle is definitely going to be Roxas. While the Xemnas fights are seen as the boss battle highlight, I thought they were just way too easy. Just spamming X and using Riku's commands worked just fine with all 4 Xemnas fights. And I was actually 2 levels under the level 50 recommendation, so I don't know why during the whole Xemnas boss rush I died once, counted once, because I went into anti-form when I attempted to use limit form. Useless. And the quote-unquote barrage of reaction commands in the final Xemnas fight was overhyped. Yeah, it hurt my fingers a little, yeah, it was stressful, and yes, it's fucking awesome to look at, but it's not even close to as bad as some people made it out to be. However, I'm sure that's definitely a me problem than anything else, so I don't hold it against the game. As a final boss, Xemnas did his job well, but Roxas' fight, first of all, comes out of nowhere. Sora and company are just walking along, and all of a sudden, Donald and Goofy are held back by nobodies, while only Sora sees Roxas wielding 2 Keyblades. Sora and Roxas go into Sora's heart and go head to head. Second, I love how this was the beginning of many fights set inside people's hearts. It's one of my favorite settings in the entire series. And Roxas fighting as hard as he can just depresses me. He's upset that his friends are dead and his life got taken away, so he tries to take it back, only to lose. He calls Sora a good other and then recedes back into his heart. And during this entire fight, the Other Promise is playing, and it's up there with A Piece of Peace as one of the most emotional pieces of music in this entire series. This boss battle is probably one of my favorite in the entire series. Let's see, what else haven't I covered? Olympus Coliseum. I completed some of the cups, which I usually never do. Those are pretty fun and a really good endurance test. All of the post-game shit like Lingering Will, Mushroom 13, and the data organization fights, I didn't do those, and I probably never will. I know that this game's post-story content is legendary amongst Kingdom Hearts fans, but I usually never do post-game content in Kingdom Hearts games. There are few games where I can sink hours and hours of time into them long after my initial playthrough. But with Kingdom Hearts, I play them, I finish the story, and then I'm done. Extra bosses, hidden content, and ultimate weapons? Not usually my cup of tea in Kingdom Hearts. Look, call me a shitty fan, but that's just my thing. However, there is one thing that I tried completing, which I never ever do, which was the puzzles. Holy shit! Every numbered Kingdom Hearts game has shit like this to collect. KH1 had the Trinity emblems and Dalmatian puppies, KH3 had the Lucky emblems, and KH2 has these puzzles with amazing artwork by Tetsuya Nomura. I have absolutely no clue why, but the puzzle pieces were the only thing I was hell-bent on collecting. Granted, I didn't finish them, mostly because some can't be attained without high jumps that refuse to live out drive forms, but I digress. But just look at this fucking art! These are just amazing Kingdom Hearts concepts that I would just love to hang on my wall. And piecing them together bit by bit until the picture is complete, absolute genius. He's an absolute mad lad. It's pretty fucking astounding that I enjoyed collecting puzzle pieces more than playing an entire world in this game. And with that, I've pretty much covered everything. Objectively speaking, this is probably the best Kingdom Hearts game. Great game design, amazing vast worlds, for the most part, beautiful visuals, extremely tight and deep combat, lots of post-game shit, the works. Just feelings-wise, it was beat up by moments like beating Ansem's Seeker of Darkness after hours of getting my ass handed to me, or every single protagonist from the series coming together for the finale. I really do love KH2, and there's lots of memorable moments, but it just isn't my favorite. But who knows, give it some time and it may be my absolute favorite game in the series. Just don't hold your breath. But as of now, I understand why it's earned its spot as the best Kingdom Hearts game and as a PlayStation 2 classic.